speak a little bit more. We've been promising you that conversation with Dan Manza, who's a member of Parliament. Thank you for joining us. It's good to see you in one piece.
Yes, thank you.
Despite the events that we saw in the National Assembly yesterday. So let me start with this. You know, what next then for that special sitting tomorrow?
Unless, you know now, the CORD team is meeting, the parliamentary side of CORD, and also the president is meeting his team, I believe this afternoon. That means unless you have the meeting of minds before we go to the floor, matters will not have changed. Remember, this is a law which was arrived at following the Orengo Kiraitu group committee of joint parliament, whereby you had Senate and the National Assembly. And you see, once you have a law of that nature, it's similar to the National Accord in 2007, 2008. And when you have a similar law like that, it's only fair to take it back to that team for agreement, or to make sure at least the two sides of the political leadership have a meeting of mind. What is in contention is an integrated system, which is already in the law. The suspicion with the court is that these amendments are being brought to allow, first of all, it's a parallel law, number one. Two, to allow a possibility of using manual system, and therefore a possibility of ballot stuffing.
All right. Okay, and on that note, members from Jubilee side say, well, so what's the alternative? And rather than say, let's trust in the system. Systems do fail. They're made by human. They're prone to error. And they're saying they just want to put in place an alternative system. You know, what do you believe would be an alternative to manual voting?
Yeah, since the law already says integrated system, that already includes alternative system. What we could do with the system we have, because one of the issues is network, is to boost network by that time, because the networks are there. Secondly, is to make sure there are backup systems. You see, the last time technology failed because the batteries, you know, some of them went low. So if you have solar systems, and they are ordinarily not very expensive to charge the batteries continuously, then you can be sure that the biometric voting and identification will go on throughout. So we should improve the systems, let them have backup systems. You know, one of the safest planes has only one engine, you know, the Caravan. But it has backup systems so that wherever you fly with it, you can fly for hours. Without the engine failing, which is just a single engine.
So you're saying there are alternatives, that do not include manual transmission of results, manual, you know, voter identification at the various polling centers? Yes,
because if you resort into that, that's why you could easily have rigging. And we suspect that Jubilee is shocked now. You know, this is by the leader of majority. He's the one pushing everybody around. And I think it's unnecessary. What people need is to sit down first, agree on a way forward, and then not make fights and unnecessary pushing and unnecessary, you know, use of force. You know, a law should be consensus. It's for all Kenyans. It's for prosperity. It's not just for Duale alone or for Jubilee.
All right. So you're taking us back to the Joint Parliamentary Select Committee. That is where you began. That is how we had these amendments into Kenya's electoral laws that were put in place. But yet, even on the backdrop of that, today we're having separate parliamentary group meetings. Jubilee meeting with the party leader, Uhuru Kenyatta, at State House, and CORD meeting, you know, on the other side. So does this then just create a recipe for what we saw yesterday again? Was there an attempt at some sort of bipartisan meeting, perhaps even under the same auspices of Orengo and Kiraitu?
We propose that what should happen, and that's what I expect of the leadership of the two sides. Instead of going to sharpen, you know, each side, you know, against the other, what they should do is to create a situation for peace. A situation whereby we recall the Kiraitu Orengo committee together. They give us a solution to this. In fact, even you know, a leadership meeting on both sides of the house could easily resolve this. There was an attempt yesterday, but you could see some leaders, especially from Jubilee, were fixed-minded, that we just come to the floor, we pass this law because we are majority, and let Kenyans do what they choose to do. And I think that's the wrong attitude.
Okay.
And the wrong methodology.
Right. You sit in the National Assembly. You were there yesterday. Yes. What do you make of what could happen tomorrow. From what you saw with the events yesterday, there will be a meeting. Will you be in attendance at the Court PG meeting today?
Yes, I'll attend the Court PG meeting.
What are some of those proposals? What do we hope to see tomorrow? Is it a repeat? Are Kenyans going to be subjected to the same name-calling, and just quite frankly shameless scenes that we saw yesterday?
In fact, the reason the Speaker adjourned the House yesterday is when a poisonous substance was sprayed to the Honorable Kaluma on the floor of the House. And of course, it spread to everybody. And everybody was choking and coughing.
A poisonous substance?
Yes, it was a poisonous substance.
That's a bit of a harsh statement. If it was poisonous, Bonamanzo, you wouldn't be sitting here with us today. You would be in a hospital.
Yeah, whatever it was, but it was not good on the members. And Honorable Kaluma was now, looking for first aid or something like that. And I believe with a thing like that, then of course the House became chaotic. It became disorderly, and the standing orders allowed to stop. We don't really expect disorder tomorrow. If there's a meeting of minds on the two sides today, if the law is being made in good faith, if the law is not is to serve Kenyans, and it is for free and fair election, I think if there's a meeting of mind of that tomorrow, you don't expect problems. We can agree on an amendment which takes care of everybody, and the sessions could even adjourn peacefully much earlier.
And if that doesn't happen?
Yesterday, of course, by the time we got to Parliament, we found police all over. And the members were meant to alight and walk to the House from a distance. And probably that's what irritated some members like Honorable Millie Odhiambo, because she had to remove her shoes and walk for a long time. I think that's unnecessary. And you cannot do that to Parliament. It's a honorable House, it should be. And that's what may have set the mood right from beginning. So we expect a situation where the mood is right, and whereby reason presides and we make a law for prosperity.
All right, well, I have you here. Perhaps some comments to the acrimony that came out of Millie Odhiambo's statements. Your reaction to that? There's a protest that's happening as we speak in the streets of Nairobi, calling for her to respect the presidency and respect authority. This is a big story now. Everybody's talking about those statements that came from her yesterday. What are your thoughts to that?
Yes, I saw the statements. I heard them. They were out of frustrations. And she claimed justification, that is the truth. When she said that, the current constitution gives us freedom of expression. But that freedom is to the extent of when you start injuring other people's freedoms. But, you see the background. She had been accosted by police before she accessed Parliament. She was forced to walk.
And that's a bad thing for her to walk?
It's dehumanizing.
Is it?
I mean,
lots of Kenyans walk to their places of work.
A lot of Kenyans walk to places of work, but when you are not prepared for it, and you are meant to walk on barefoot, not every Kenyan
Well, she wasn't meant to walk on barefoot. She took her shoes off voluntarily and decided to walk barefoot. Yes. No one forced her to take off her shoes.
So things like that happen, and when you wonder why police has to accost you, then, of course, she referred to the boss of the police, or the one in charge of the security instrument in the country. And I think that's a matter now for the people to judge whether our words are true or whether, she could apologize to the president.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Dan Manzo, Court Member of Parliament, we thank you for making the time. Please do let us know, what happens at that PG meeting, and we hope that we will not see those scenes again. It's becoming quite characteristic of this Parliament from what we saw with the security amendments law and now this one. Thank you for making the time to be with us here on News Center. You're watching that. That's our discussion with Dan Manzo. What do you think? Remember, there's our Twitter poll question that is running on this, our top story today. We're asking you whether you support the proposed changes to election laws. The hashtag is News Center. The Twitter handles at KTN News, at Yvonne Okwara. Keep your views coming in to that. We're taking